Recently, the YouTube channel Agent Espo did a video about how the retro rifle trend is coming to a close. And personally, I would welcome the retro rifle trend coming to a close because for me, these old guns never were a trend, they were a hobby and a passion and things I really enjoyed. But his video really got me thinking, what advantages do these older rifles have over things that are a lot newer and a lot more modern? So this video is 6 ways that the M16a1 is the best fighting rifle ever. But I will probably do a video down the road talking about some of the detriments to this specific rifle platform. However, getting into it, the first thing that makes this rifle really stand out from modern rifles is its light weight. The M16a1 spec sheet has the M16 weighing about 6 pounds 7 ounces, whereas the M16a2 is 7 pounds 8 ounces. That is over a pound of gain, and what are you really getting with that? Then if you move into something even more modern, this Rock River Arms I have going right here is probably my go-to fighting rifle. And well, I have this rifle set up this way because I like it. It's a heavy gun. That gun with its flashlight, optic, and red dot on top of the optic, and its heavy profile barrel comes in at 9 pounds 7 ounces. So that means you are getting about 3 more pounds of weight added onto the rifle, and you are getting some serious advantages there. The ability to shoot at night, the ability to see out to longer ranges. But for a lot of applications, this rifle will do just fine, and if you're going to carry it long distances, it's probably preferred. Recently, my wife and I have been watching some older seasons of The Walking Dead, back when the show was actually good, and this rifle is featured prominently in Season 5. And while we've been going through that, I've just been thinking, man, if I was in that situation where I would be carrying my gun all of these really long distances, I think I would probably rather have a rifle like this one than a rifle like that one, especially since the electronic components might not work at that point. And side note, 20-inch barrel means if I attach a bayonet to the end of this, I have a little more reach for those head stabs. Another advantage of the M16a1 is that it does not have a whole lot of things to get snagged. Really, if I was going to point out anything as a major snag point, the front sight post obviously, and in addition to that, the teardrop style forward assist. The M16a2 improved the forward assist, but really, that's about it. Just the forward assist and the front sight. And if you're one of those people who goes for the original M16, not the M16a1, you'd go without the forward assist altogether. But that's not me. I really like the M16a1. The third thing I'd like to talk about is really a way that this rifle, in my opinion, feels ahead of its time, and that is its ergonomics. Now, the 3 main things to point out with this ergonomics is the stock, the pistol grip, and the handguard. The stock of this rifle is a little bit shorter than M16a2s and M16a4s. Obviously, it wouldn't be necessarily as ergonomic as a collapsible stock that you can set to any position you want, but I think the A1 stock length is perfect for 99% of people. It is a really good length, and it's easy to grab onto. And in addition to that, the light weight I mentioned earlier means that there's not a lot of weight out in front where the barrel is, and this kind of fixed stock is a little bit heavier than most collapsible stocks. So the rifle also balances really well. And when it comes to handling a rifle, usually balance is more important than weight. Now, the other thing I'd like to note about the ergonomics of this specifically is that the modern style of shooting is to get a C-clamp grip as far forward on the handguard as possible. That's why a lot of modern handguards are really thin, so you can wrap your hand all the way around really well. But on this rifle, with its tapered profile, you get that same kind of feature. You get a really thin handguard where you're going to be grabbing it all the way out in the front, and because of that taper, you get good purchase on it to pull it into your shoulder. So I think the ergonomics of the M16a1 are really, really good. However, if there's something you don't like about this, another advantage of the M16a1 is that even to this day it modernizes really easily. If you want to change it out for a collapsible stock, you could. If you wanted to add a pistol grip that added a little bit more trigger reach, you could. If you wanted to add a rail around the front sight block, you could do that too, and then add a flashlight to the gun. And in addition to that, in addition to flashlights, if you really wanted to, you could also mount a scope to this. If I was going to use this rifle as my only rifle, I'd probably mount a primary arms 3x prism in here, and with binned and aiming, I would be able to use it at closer quarters, but it would really help me if I needed to identify or hit a target out to those longer ranges. However, I'm keeping this rifle as it is because this is a collector piece for me more than it's necessarily a defend my life piece. But if you really needed to use a rifle like this, you could modernize it extremely easy. And that's a big advantage of the M16 platform as opposed to some of those older AKs and that kind of thing. Now, another advantage that you get with the M16s versus most modern AR-15s, and this is true of the M16a2 as well, is that it has the longer barrel, the 20-inch barrel instead of a 16-inch barrel. And one of the advantages that that gives you is ammo selection. Now, this is M193 Winchester White Box, and this is a really quality ammo. I use M193 as a defensive ammo even with this rifle, but especially when you get down into your shorter barrels, like this 11.5, this ammunition in this 11.5 AR pistol is going to lose a lot of velocity, and it's not going to be anywhere near as effective as that rifle with a 20-inch barrel. All right, let's shoot the M193. 3,258 feet per second. 3,255 feet per second. 3,231 feet per second. In order to use that shorter gun and still have a lot of lethality, you need to pick up a nicer ammo that's going to cost quite a bit more money. Whereas for this rifle, I can shoot this ammo that I buy off the shelf and it will work perfectly fine. And I think that that is a big advantage of these older 20-inch barrels. Even your cheap training ammo is going to excel out of them. So whether that's a COVID situation where ammo is scarce, or whether it's a situation of budget where you can stock up on thousands of rounds of this for the same price as several hundred rounds of 77 grain OTMs, with a 20-inch barrel, you can have a cheaper ammo that will perform better. And the last thing that I would like to discuss is something that is solely subjective, but that is just the aesthetic of these rifles.
Charlie's coming, we gotta move!
M16a1s have some really cool features that really make them stand out in a space where every rifle is a red dot with a magnifier and a flashlight on the front and M-LOK rails. This rifle really stands out in that world, and I've gone to shooting competitions with some carry handles, and people always think that they are really cool because that's just not what they're used to seeing. Where everybody else's rifle looks the same, mine is unique. So, do you think that I missed something? Do you think that there's an advantage of these older M16s that I missed, or do you think that there is something that is really bad about these that completely pulls it away from the ability to be called a good rifle? Whatever you decide, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to see that. Also, please like and subscribe. People always joke around with me that I don't say that in my videos. I'm 8mm Mauser Man, and I am currently surrounded by different barrel lengths AR-15s, but I lived on.
You be the judge. That was way more explosion than I expected. Keep the change, you filthy animal.